Coming to you from the sunny city of Phoenix, Arizona, we present to you a special edition of Cronkite Sports Live.
On this episode, we are taking a closer look at how a lacrosse player is continuing her family's legacy.
Plus, how an athlete isn't letting her newfound disease get the best of her.
Also, what plans ASU's new head swim coach has for its national championship programs. All this and more coming up on CSL Special.
For the CSL Special, I'm Gabriella Chernoff.
And I'm Aiden O'Neill. Tegan Ng is a part of ASU's lacrosse team. As only a sophomore, she has gotten many awards in the short time that she has been a part of the team. WCSN reporter Leilani Feiertag takes us to the field for a closer look.
From Richmond, British Columbia, on attack, number 77, Tegan Ng.
Starting in every game, ASU lacrosse player Tegan Ng has made 21 goals, assisting in 2, totaling in 23 points this season. Ng is explosive on the field, but this was not done without hard work.
Tegan is dedicated to her sport and her craft. She wants to be the best that she can possibly be in her role. And so she commits her time. She also commits to playing at a bigger level.
In the 2 years that Ng has been a part of this team, she has received many awards. In her freshman year, she was awarded Pac-12 Freshman of the Year and played for Canada at the Lacrosse Fall Classic and will be playing for China this summer.
It felt really good. Coming into freshman year, I had those goals of playing my best, and I knew if I played to my best ability, I'd be able to achieve what I wanted. And I think it just felt good because all my hard work paid off.
Ng is a fourth-generation lacrosse player. Some could say she was born to play the sport.
Since I was born, my grandpa on my mom's side put a lacrosse stick in my hand and just over the years coached me and inspired me to become a lacrosse player, and I fell in love with the sport at a very young age.
The same way her grandpa inspired her and generations before her, Ng wants to continue that same legacy.
And they just brought that sense of community. They are the people who built that community basically, and put building blocks for future generations. And now I can build it for younger girls too, and just keep building.
Ng is a dominant player and a threat when it comes to being on the field. But there are still some things that will throw her off her game.
Let's say the match is about to start, you're just on the field getting ready, and all of a sudden a butterfly lands on your shoulder. What are you doing?
I'm probably freaking out and running around and screaming for someone to come help me, because I cannot with the butterflies. I actually hate them and they freak me out. And when I was a kid, I went to Butterfly World and they all just swarmed me and it traumatized me.
Despite this fear, Ng continues to impress those around her.
Tegan's grown a lot in her IQ on field. She is definitely starting to assert herself a whole lot more as a veteran, as the Rookie of the Year last year, and then coming in, she knows what it takes to be successful, and I think she's trying to pull kids along with her.
Ng's career is just getting started, but it is going to take a lot more than a fear of butterflies to stop her from being the best that she can possibly be. Reporting for Cronkite Sports, I'm Leilani Feiertag.
Petra Party chased her dreams when she immigrated from Hungary to the United States to play water polo at ASU. Now Party is the ASU water polo head coach. Senior attacker Luca Petovri also immigrated to the U.S. from Hungary to live out the same dream. Our Jacob Brooks has more on the story.
In 2011, after years of playing for the Hungarian youth national water polo team, Petra Party immigrated to the United States to pursue her dreams of completing higher education and playing collegiate water polo at ASU. 10 years later, Party was now a coach at ASU, and her original journey inspired another Hungarian water polo star in Luca Petovari to become a Sun Devil.
For people who don't know, what is the water polo scene like over in Hungary?
I would say it's much bigger. Water polo is one of the most popular sports back in Hungary. You know, it's due to its decorated history of Hungarian water polo, multiple Olympic national champions, world championships, European championships, lots of gold medals.
I would say Hungary plays very traditional water polo. The US plays very involved new water polo with a lot of movement, like offense, defense. I had to adjust a lot, especially on defense, how to pick up drives, how to communicate. I don't think I've ever talked this much in the water I do right now, to be honest. So that was a big step for me.
And then what would you guys each say was your biggest adjustment lifestyle-wise outside of the pool coming to ASU from Hungary?
For me, it's, college sports here in the US, completely different from what it is in Hungary. We don't have high school sports, we don't have college sports. It's only separate high school and club. So just how interconnected everything was here in NCAA and especially here at ASU. Your class schedule is centered around practice schedule, and there are people that all across the department that help you set it up. The medical staff for sports medicine is super easily accessible. We have athletic trainers on the pool deck for every single practice. That's completely unlike what it is to grow up playing club sports or club water polo, especially in Hungary. Just kind of how everything was centered around water polo and being an athlete. Being an athlete and being a student at the same time. So it's completely different, not even comparable. At home, to be able to finish a higher education degree and to play water polo at such a high level and earn that degree in 4 years, it would have been absolutely impossible.
Despite the adjustments Petra Party had to make, she thrived in her playing days as a Sun Devil. She played all 4 years, was named an All-American her junior year, and is top 10 in ASU history in goals. Her love for the game drew her to stay at ASU as a team assistant before being named the head water polo coach in 2023. Luca credits Petra's journey as her reason to come to ASU, and over the past 4 years, the two have built a special connection.
It's funny because our dads, they played together water polo back in Hungary, and I grew up playing against her brother back in Hungary, so we knew of each other. But then the first time she reached out to me and we started talking, it was I think an instant connection. I felt so comfortable talking to her that she's 100% the reason why I'm here today and why I survived the past 4 years, to be honest.
So we've talked a bit about inside the water, but outside of the water, how would you guys say your guys' connection has grown over your 4 years here?
You got that.
I mean, I think we have a very special relationship, and I feel like sometimes I have trouble distinguish that she's my head coach, but she's also one of my closest friends here, and she helped me through, especially from her assistant coach position going into head coach, and while I'm also from freshman going to senior year, we were there for each other during these 4 years, and it's very hard for me to look at her just as my coach because she knows so much about me, and we experienced some crazy things in the past 4 years. So I would also call her one of my best friends, and oh my God, but it's true. So I don't think I enjoyed playing someone or anyone else as much as I do with her. As she mentioned before, how much freedom I get in the pool, and she's one of the main reasons why I'm having this season as well, because the amount of freedom she gave me and the trust I know that she has in me is unmatched.
Lutza was named the MPSF Player of the Year after a historic regular season. She set the conference record for most goals in a season with 120, and her dominance means the world to Coach Party.
Coach, obviously you had success in your playing years at ASU. You were an All-American in your junior year, but does it mean more to you just watching the success that Lutza is able to have play out and you can kind of just watch her grow?
100%, yes, absolutely. Each year, regardless of the situation, she's learned a new perspective and learned something new, and it all accumulated to her being able to have this successful of a senior season, and just be given kind of the space that she needs and the freedom in the water. I think those two are very important for Lutza, to feel that she's free to do whatever she wants, to create. She's a very creative player, and I think it was all necessary.
And then with this being your senior season, how reminiscent and soaking it all in have each of you guys been about this journey?
For me, senior week is always a tough week. I remember Lutza when she first became recruiting eligible, and we had so many conversations over the phone or over FaceTime, the recruiting journey, and then she came, and now these 4 years, and it's not just with Lutza, it's with every one of the players, that you have essentially 6 years with them, like two years getting to know them, and then 4 years working together at such a high pressure environment where it's all about performance and pushing each other and making each other better. And just to see the journeys that these girls have been on and the growth that they've been through, it's incredible. I'm super proud of each of them. They've all had their fair share of hardships and battles, whether it's in the water or outside of the water. They've changed a lot, and it's hard to let go and hard to accept that your 4 years of eligibility is over, and now you're going to move on to do better things, even though we knew from the beginning that we were only given 4 years. It doesn't make it any easier.
I feel like my brain doesn't really let me think about it, because I know the job is not done yet. We want to make it to NCAA and we want to win this weekend, and I feel like I'm just pushing those emotions of oh, I'm almost done with water polo and with ASU here, that I'm just pushing them aside and trying to focus on what's our main goal. And then I'm sure that after my last game I'll be sobbing in Petra's arms that I'm not ready to leave or to be done, but I don't really let myself to get there yet.
You guys taking the decision to come from Hungary to play at ASU, that's a very difficult decision. That's kind of like a leap of faith, as people would say. What would be your guys' advice to anyone, water polo related or just in life, who are thinking about leaving their home country to pursue opportunities in another foreign country? What would be your advice to them?
My advice is that home is always home. Home will always be there. Home will always be exactly what you know it already to be. Take the leap of faith and take the journey and get new experiences. Even if you go to somewhere new and it's not what you expected it to be, it's still going to be great, because it's going to teach you something new about yourself. It's going to teach you something new about life, new experiences, and you're going to be better and more for it.
I completely agree with that. I would just add that the connections and relationship you build with people, with foreigners, and in this situation it doesn't even mean with Americans, but everyone who comes around, our girls from Netherlands, Spain, Canada, France, from everywhere all around the world, you build such deep and special connections with all these people that we are all connected through water polo and something we love. But there are also so much more outside, and it's just it's amazing to see how different we are outside of the water, but we still find a way back to each other no matter what. So that's something I think I'm the most grateful for, coming to the US, for these friendships that I created.
The journeys of both Petra Party and Lutza Petovary to the United States to chase their dreams serve as inspiration to all of us. Their journeys aren't over yet though, as this Friday ASU will take on USC in the first round of the MPSF Conference Tournament. From Cronkite Sports, I'm Jacob Brooks.
ASU volleyball's rise to prominence was thanks in part to the flurry of international talents that have grown through the program's highs and lows, including those like graduate outside hitter Roberta Robello. Our Max Cepeda has more on her journey to Tempe and the leadership she brings for J.J. Van Niel's squad.
Traveling across the globe to play collegiate sports is a major commitment made by thousands of students across the country, with some going above and beyond to make that dream possible. For Arizona State outside hitter Roberta Robello, that dream came true in 2020, and after helping her club team finish second in the Brazilian Cup, including winning MVP of the tournament, she arrived in Tempe noticing not just a drastically different volleyball culture, but sports culture as a whole.
But I think in the US, it was the impact of the sports in general, like the culture of sports here. Like people recognize you, oh, are you in the volleyball team, you know? People know you are an athlete because of your backpack. Because here people appreciate much more than in Brazil. Like if I say that I played volleyball in Brazil, they will be like, oh, this is nice, you know, like just for fun. And I'm like, no, I actually want to be a professional.
However, she was not alone. ASU had grown accustomed to welcoming stout international talents like Sun Devil alum Imani Sanovic and her fellow teammate Marta Levinska. But for Robello, she saw them as people to lean on in adjusting to the States and the student-athlete life.
I think it's very important to have like these shoulders to cry on. It is hard, you know, and not everyone will understand that because they're from here and they see their parents like for Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas, you know, but like for us it's a little more complicated than that.
And it wasn't just the sports culture that opened Robello's eyes when she arrived in the US, but also her love for exploring the world. Since arriving in the States, she has traveled to 15 nations across the globe and even found love in the process, a love that also involves her school's longest-lasting rival.
Me and my boyfriend, we met here. He goes to U of A, so he's my rival. Like his background and his family are also are very similar to mine, and like exploring and like getting to know the world.
Robello's passion remains as high as ever on the court, and as she has seen the Sun Devils evolve in her 4 years, from Pac-12 basement dwellers to championship contenders, she has seized a major leadership role in head coach J.J. Van Niel's locker room, one that true freshman Hokulani Perez has taken note of.
Especially like these girls like Marta, Rob, and Jelly, you can tell that they've been through so much growth, not just like performance-wise, but like, you know, myself-wise.
In the end, this weekend will be the final home stint for Robello's time in uniform. And while her time as a Sun Devil may be coming to an end soon, she plans to continue being involved in the sport, either professionally or even as a mentor here in Tempe. For Cronkite Sports, I'm Max Cepeda.
An ASU softball pitcher was diagnosed with alopecia in the middle of her college softball career. Our Grace Johnson sat down with Marissa Schold to talk about her story.
In 2020, ASU softball pitcher Marissa Schold went in for a simple wrist surgery to help her gain full range of motion for her pitching windup. What seemed to be a routine surgery would be just the beginning of Marissa's ongoing health battle with alopecia.
I just had like some overall health issues, wasn't really feeling the best, so I was on a couple of like heart monitors, seeing a various amount like of different doctors, and I think it was like the day after my wrist surgery where I just like noticed, like my dad was like, did you shave a part of your head and like for your breast cancer walk or something like that? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? So that was like the first kind of like sign.
Yeah.
Even now to this day, we don't like have it all figured out.
Yeah.
And I think I saw so many doctors at the time where I was just like overwhelmed mentally, emotionally, physically. They put me on a vast amount of different treatments and medications. So I think it was more just trial and error, and I found out that it was all just like not the best for me. So then I just stopped going to doctors completely. I was getting different answers from like every single one, or I was put on waiting lists to get in, and obviously with my busy schedule, I think most people probably would have not persevered through it, or just because you're going through like a kind of like identity crisis. But I think softball was my outlet at the time, and so I think I've made that just my focus. Is I want to finish out my career strong.
When you said like you stopped going to doctors, like overall, was that just because you didn't see a point in it and you were just kind of getting frustrated?
I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but like I would be going to get like 100 shots or needles in my head, and I would come to practice right after, or they would do like an acid treatment and it would make my whole like skin rash out, and I would just show up in rashes, or they put me on like a really harsh drug which is used for chemotherapy, and I think that is the medication that obviously is very hard on your body. So it didn't like ruin my body in a sense, but I just feel like my body hasn't been normal since then. Like that year we went to regionals, I couldn't even be out in the sun for 20 minutes without just like blistering. Or I think there was one game I was pitching against San Diego State in regionals, and I don't even remember it because I was like I had an episode of heat exhaustion, and so I think that's like when I first realized like, okay, you need to slow down and actually take care of your body first, because in the end, softball's just a game.
What were your kind of initial feelings and emotions at the beginning of the journey, like when you started to like realize, hey, you gotta slow down?
Yeah, I would say I didn't deal with it well, obviously, and I think my coaches and my teammates could probably say the same, just because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening with my body, but I will say I had a great support group during that time.
So you recently like came out with having alopecia on social media this past fall. Like, what encouraged you to like make it public, I guess? Because that's something that's so personal.
Yeah, so a lot of my teammates, they've like been begging me to do it, but I was like, when the time's right, because I think it took me like a full year to just accept overall, and I think them encouraging me, and then as obviously the years have gone on, I've become more comfortable like talking about it, or just telling my story kind of to younger girls. And I think when younger girls did start reaching out to me if they were going through similar things or whatnot, that's just when I realized that like I can use my platform to help others.
When you came out on social media, how many people just reached out and said they were inspired by you or resonated with what you were going through?
I honestly turned my phone off for like 2 days. Like, I was with my friends, we were out somewhere, y'all don't even remember where we were, but basically they were like kind of all like in a circle, like encouraging me to do it. So then I don't even think I hit the post button, but I like just turned my phone off and I gave it to one of my friends, and then I think I looked at it like 2 days later, and just seeing like the support was very encouraging, and I didn't like want it for the support or like sympathy. Like, I'm not that type of person at all, but I think just recognizing that some people do care, even if you think they don't, they do, or just even if they don't, like, their opinion doesn't matter. So
to be a college athlete and compete at such a high level that you do, you have to have a certain level of confidence, right? How did your confidence change at all during this?
I will say I have struggled with my confidence, but I think just holding my head high and like understanding like I've gone through some things that people will never understand or go through, and they're not gonna know how I feel or what I've gone through. Like, only those people that like have been really close to me will know. So I think just like I said, I have like that strong support group close to me, and I think I just lean on them more often, and yeah, I think just them, like, they are obviously, they boost my confidence, but also just staying true to myself, not really focusing on the outside noise. I think in the old days, or the old me, I like would care about what people thought, but like now I just have become more self-expressed, I feel like.
You said you'd show up to practices after doctor's appointment with rashes. What motivated you to stay dedicated to softball through all these trials?
I honestly think like it was just like it sidetracked me, so I just like needed to get my anger out on something, and that was the ball or pitching the ball. Just channeling my inner anger of what was happening, because I mean it wasn't easy, but I think that, and then also just being surrounded by like I said, my friends and my family. At first I was just like, I didn't even want to be in the locker room, but like now I just don't even care, so yeah. But I think they accept me for who I am now and who I've become, and they understand like what I've gone through, or even if they don't, like they're just very supportive of it. So I think having supportive teammates, especially this group this year, has been an easier transition.
You said that in your post that you thought your identity was in sports, and then after going through this journey that kind of changed your perspective a lot. What made you realize that?
I think just overall well-being and health is very important. My dad has had like multiple heart attacks, so I've been in and out of the hospitals ever since I was a little kid, and I think just realizing that like, yeah, I'm a fighter, I'm strong, whatever, like I'm always going to give my best at anything I do, but I need to take a step back and just realize that like there's a bigger picture. Softball coming to an end is honestly like trying to find my passion, and that might be in advocating for people with alopecia or autoimmune disorders, or just people going through something bigger.
Yeah, definitely. You also said that you just wanted to inspire people and that there's beauty in struggle. How have you experienced that so far?
I mean, I think everybody, like, yeah, the end goal is to be a collegiate athlete on the biggest platform, but once you get to college, like, I realized that the hard way. Like, every year there's been something for me that's been a hardship, and I think that if it wasn't for, like, the struggles, I wouldn't be who I am today. And so just embracing, like, even though, yeah, you are going through a hard time, like, there's always going to be, like, the sun's going to shine tomorrow. So just finding the small moments of joy and just overall trying to be your best self and growing through what you're going through.
Can you walk me through the moment of like first stepping back into that pitching circle after you have realized like something's not wrong, or after your diagnosis? What was that like? Like, how did your mindset change?
I think it was like during a maroon and gold's scrimmage where I actually got to pitch again, and that was the 2022 year of when when we won PAC. But I think just having like Coach Ford and all my coaches and all my team, like after the scrimmage, they like kind of acknowledged that, and so that was really awesome and made me feel like, okay, life is too short, and since I did have a setback, like I was ready to come back after that.
If you could give like one piece of advice to any athlete dealing with health issues or even alopecia or immune deficiency problems, what would it be?
I think just reach out and lean on the help that you have the opportunity to like reach out to. If I can grow and start accepting myself a little more just to help others, that will go a long way. And on top of all the other things I want to do, I think that's going to be like one of my main priorities.
Former ASU linebacker Travion Brown hopes to hear his name called at this weekend's NFL Draft. Brown took a leap of faith coming to ASU from Washington State this past season and turned into a central piece of the Sun Devil defense. WCSN reporter Blake Neiman dives into how Brown's spiritual journey has shaped him into the man he is today.
Arizona State linebacker Travion Brown came into Saturday's matchup looking for revenge against his former team. He came out of it realizing it wasn't his revenge to take.
Obviously, coming from that school, I had a lot of revenge that I wanted to get, but I learned that revenge is not mine to take but his. So I let that go to him. I gave him everything that there was to be mad or pissed about, and we came out with this victory today, man. So it meant a lot.
Since leaving Pullman, Brown has felt his faith jump to the next level.
Like I'm a lot heavier in my faith and how I believe in God and how He's changed my life and how He's shaped me into the man that I am right now, went through trials and tribulations.
And his godly characteristics are present every time he touches the turf.
He's a guy that's going to brighten everyone's day, and he's going to lead, he's going to lead from the front in everything he does.
The grad transfer's devotion to leading by example and helping others has led his interest toward a career as a canine police officer.
It's definitely one of the biggest forces in why I want to be an officer, because I want to be in the community. I like talking to people. I like talking to kids. I like being around kids. So that aspect has driven me to be an officer, and as well as me wanting to help save people.
No matter if Brown chooses to continue on his football journey or begin a new chapter on the force, he will be remembered for being part of something bigger.
I try to talk a lot about God when I'm around my boys, and make sure that they know Him before I leave. So my legacy would be to leave knowing that, okay, I got a foundation of my boys that know the Lord, and then from there, hopefully they'll trickle out and go evangelize some more.
We'll be taking a quick look at a sit-down interview with newly appointed swim and dive head coach Herbie Babe about his new role in ASU swimming, his vision for the future, and the lasting impact he plans to leave on the national championship program. WCSN reporter Casey McNulty takes us to the deck for this inside look.
So I know you have a really long history with the ASU, but I kind of want to go back to your beginnings.
Yeah.
So what first drew you to the sport of swimming, and how did that shape your initial passion for coaching?
Yeah. I started swimming at the age of 5. I can remember my sister, who's 2 years older than me, she started when she was like 5 or 6, and I remember going to practice, and I can like remember watching her swim and wanting to do it. And then started swimming. It's kind of funny, the oldest record that I still hold is the 8 and under New Mexico's 25 free state record.
Wow.
That's still, it's like, yeah, from like 1999. So it's still going strong. So I've always enjoyed it. I played a lot of sports growing up, but I liked the just individual like competition that comes with swimming, where you're kind of competing against yourself and doing that. And it's like more of an internal journey. So I've always loved that aspect of it, and that's what I still really love today.
Yeah, I know. I looked a little bit into your background, and I saw, obviously, you swam in college at ASU.
Yeah.
But you first started out at University of Tennessee, and
Yeah.
then you transferred here. So what kind of inspired you to come to ASU?
Well, I'd actually, the team had just been cut, and it was like kind of a new, fresh start for this team, and it was like, okay, it was kind of, I needed a fresh start as well. I always had been here and like loved the campus, loved everything about it, and it was one of those things that I think everything outside of swimming was also really good. So I thought it would be a great fit for just where I was in life and everything like that, where it's like, okay, we still have swimming, kind of restarting a team with that, but in a place that's like beautiful and great to just be a part of. So yeah, came, and the rest is history.
Right, nothing better than that Tempe sun.
Oh yeah.
So in what ways do you think you have grown the most since you've began coaching and now obtaining this head coaching job at ASU?
That's a really good question. I think it's almost looking at, I think, the way you look at the sport of swimming, because it's easy to be hyper competitive in a negative way, and looking at like the people you're trying to defeat as like almost an enemy. But I think when you can kind of recognize it as like, okay, we're all in this journey of improvement.
You can view the rest of the interview on our YouTube Cronkite Sports. But that is it for this special edition of Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Aiden O'Neill.
And I'm Gabby Chernoff. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for the latest updates on Sun Devil athletics. We'll see you next time.